Just 3 races remain in the 2005 Nextel Cup season, and today the chase for the championship comes to Texas. For the first time, fans here have a second chance to see the stars of NASCAR right in the heart of Texas and right in the heart of the chase. They know the championship is on the line, and they have come to root for their favorite driver, those in the chase and those that would like to be. The countdown is at 3, and the Lone Star State is ready to toast the next star at Texas. Ryan Newman won the pole, crashed on his second lap. As we talked about in the countdown, he will start at the back of the field in a backup car. Jeff Gordon will start outside of row 1.
In row 2 on the inside, Matt Kenseth. He will inherit the pole when Newman goes to the back. Joe Nemechek in outside row 2.
Row 3, Mayfield on the inside. Good qualifying run for Mike Bliss. 0 car on the outside.
Row 4, Greg Biffle, one of the chasers, along with his teammate Mark Martin, another guy in the chase for the Nextel Cup.
On the inside of row 5 is Bill Elliott trying some stuff for Evernham for 2006, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the outside.
And there's Jimmy Johnson on the inside looking for a good day, as well as Elliott Saber. He's had a victory at this racetrack.
Row 7, Dave Blaney, who's looking for a ride in 2006, and Denny Hamlin, who got one handed to him this morning with Joe Gibbs Racing. He's in row 7.
Inside row 8 is Casey Kane. And Tony Stewart, our NASCAR Nextel Cup leader, with just 3 to go on the outside.
Row 9, Bobby Labonte on the inside. 18 car on the outside, Kurt Busch, defending champion.
Row 10, Scott Wimmer, next to veteran Ricky Rudd.
Row 11, someone picked Brian Vickers to win today. We'll see if that's true. Scott Riggs on the outside.
Row 12, good run for Kevin LePage in the 66 car on the outside, Kyle Busch.
Row 13, Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Rusty Wallace, his last race at Texas, and it is Rusty Wallace Day in the state of Texas today.
Row 14, we find on the inside Mark Truex Jr., leader in the NASCAR Busch Series points, and Mike Skinner on the outside.
Row 15 on the inside, Dale Jarrett, UPS 88 car, and Carl Edwards. Watch out for him today.
Row 16, Michael Waltrip. He's next to another former Texas winner, Jeff Burton.
Inside of row 17 is Kevin Harvick, the winner here yesterday in a 300-mile event. Terry Labonte on the outside, born in Texas.
Row 18, Casey Mears on the inside. On the outside, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer.
Take you back to row 19, we'll find Travis Koppel right next to Kyle Petty.
Row 20, we find a couple of Chip Ganassi cars. Sterling Marlin on the inside, Jamie McMurray on the outside.
Row 21, Ken Schrader on the inside. On the outside, driving for Petty, Jeff Green.
And starting 43rd today, Mike Wallace. 43 starters for today's race. Robbie Gordon, P.J. Jones, Stuart Kirby, Carl Long, Johnny Sauter, Reed Sorensen failed to qualify. And again, as we talked about, Ryan Newman crashed on his second lap of qualifying after winning the pole. Will have to go to the back of the field in a backup car. Crowd of about 190,000 here at the Texas Motor Speedway. They sold tickets to people from all 50 states and 12 foreign countries. They've come to see the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series go 500 miles on this mile-and-a-half track. Front row now of Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon as pole sitter Ryan Newman drops to the back of the field. 3 races to go in the chase for the championship and 500 miles to chase the checkered flag at Texas.
want to get to the bottom fast right now, by the looks of it.
5 bonus points for Matt Kenseth for leading the first lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the inside of Blaney.
Boy, Blaney was all over the racetrack. Yeah, the pressures are down on these cars. They're real hard to drive right now until the tire pressures build up. So everybody's got to be real careful this part of the race. Also, the track will start, the group will start getting a little bit wider once they get the pressures up.
Kenseth, Gordon. Let's front 2 cars.
Looks like there's someone coming off turn 4. Looks like Bill Elliott gets a little bit loose and just barely touches the wall off turn 4. Elliott Sadler, the 38 car, trying to get by Bill.
The drivers in yellow on the ticker at the top of the screen. The 10 drivers in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. Dave?
BP, you said that Bill Elliott might be trying some stuff for Evernham, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that was one of them.
No, that's not the playbook.
Elliott's got his hands full right there. Car got loose again. You can see the tail wanting to just kick out and get sideways right in the center of the corner.
And that's another Evernham car, the 9 of Casey Kane. Casey hit the wall here yesterday.
Leading the race yesterday and blew a right front tire. We see Nemechek about to lose a spot too. Greg Biffle 16, and here comes Mike Bliss in 0.
Keep Nemechek up there on the high side. Joe may lose a few spots right there.
I tell you, walking through the garage here this morning, I saw some nervous crew chiefs because they're just such an unknown on this racetrack in the fall.
Dave?
Wow, did you see the 0 get loose right there?
Sure did.
I did, Wally. Not that good for Mike right now, trying to hold his position. But on the outside, Joe Nemechek, his crew chief, Ryan Pemberton, was a little bit nervous because of the way that they practiced yesterday. Unusually poor, according to Ryan. They tried a bunch of stuff as far as fixing it overnight. We'll see how it holds for the 01 Army car.
A lot of the guys this morning were talking about, in order to not have these cars be so tight or push off the corners, they have to loosen them up. But the problem is they're all loose getting into the corner. 190 plus mile per hour going into these corners, and the car wants to get sideways as you turn the steering wheel. Not a lot of fun.
And a lot of talk in the garage this morning, Benny, about the car behind these two, the 6 car Mark Martin and the Roush team as a whole.
Just how fast that 6 car was in practice, how good they feel like he's going to be in the race. And Pat Tryson, the crew chief on the 6 car, one of the crew chiefs that really wasn't very nervous.
But a lot of confidence in your driver when you got a guy like Mark with the wheel. And Alan talked about Mark's confidence on the Bank of America countdown to green. When Mark has that feel on a Sunday morning, you know he's sure his car is going to be good.
Part of that is having a crew chief like Pat Tryson, because he brings a whole calm to the race team.
Ryan Newman, the 12 car, trying to work his way forward. Alan?
The BP, we talked about the story where he won the pole on his first qualifying lap Friday, crashed on his second. This backup car that's on the track now has not been raced since November 2001. Crew Chief Matt Borland said it's not the car we really wanted to be using today, but they had a little malfunction at their shop, a little snafu, he called it, in their production. So they put this car on the truck. He said it's not bad, but it's not like the piece we had Friday.
Newman's going to have to fight his way through the field.
We see him back in 40th position.
Got 500 miles to get there. Had a good car here yesterday in the Busch race, but as Wally talked about, their pit strategy hurt them.
And Junior, the 8 car, goes by Mark Martin on the outside. Already they've moved, they groove up on the top side, Alan.
Hey, BP, remember the race in Atlanta last Sunday when Junior led so much?
Yes.
Same car. They cleaned it up, brought it back. They're very confident they're going to have a good run today. Dave?
Alan, Mike Bliss trying to hold station there in the 0 car right now. He just radioed in that his car was very loose coming off the corner. Wanted to whip around that rear end. And he doesn't like racing with Joe Nemechek right now. In fact, he wishes he could get by him, but so far hasn't been able to do it.
Well, he's going to be real loose now getting into one if he's side by side with Earnhardt. When you're down there on the bottom like that, it makes your car even worse. But there's enough room in between those 2 cars, so it's not as bad. If they were real tight together, 0 would be sideways.
And we saw 2 examples of that yesterday.
In the Busch race, we saw J.J. Yeley and Adrian Fernandez both go in the corner on the inside of someone, back it in the fence. Greg Biffle, the 16 car, Matt, he's going somewhere.
Yes, he is, BP. He's trying to reel in the 19 of Mayfield. Now, he just told his team on the radio the car is bottoming out, especially down in turns 1 and 2, and running me up the racetrack. Can't run down to the bottom line, but he takes that position away from the Dodge of Mayfield.
Biffle was not very happy here on Friday afternoon after the practice sessions, but was happy after his qualifying run.
He didn't know where that came from, I don't think.
No, I don't think he did either, but he's glad it showed up. We did that interview with him that you saw in the countdown to green between qualifying and the practice session, and it was after the practice session when Greg wasn't exactly thrilled with the way things were going, but they're working out all right so far. Same for Matt Kenseth. He's out front, trying to hang on in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. 12 laps in the books at the Great American Speedway in Fort Worth. Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway here in Fort Worth. There's Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, the race leader. Until today, the most laps he'd led here at Texas, 85 back in 2002 when he won the race. But already today, Matt has led 96 of 108 laps. He runs first, back and forth, Jimmy Johnson. We can take you through the field. We'll start with Matt Kenseth, and here's Marty Snyder.
That's a nice, easy Sunday drive for Matt Kenseth so far, leading all these laps except for 12. They've used their final test of 2005 to get ready for this race. Obviously, it worked. Car out front, looking nice and easy. Alan?
Tony Stewart a little bit frustrated, I think, at not being able to get around Matt Kenseth and lead a lap for those bonus points. His crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, telling Tony a bit ago to just save his stuff. This race kind of has a green flag look to it, and they got to make sure they've got some tires left at the end of the run. Dave?
Kyle Busch's car was tight and loose. He said it wouldn't turn in the corner, and then when I got to the end of the corner, it would go whoop toward the wall. That was his description. They made an adjustment for that. Matt?
Now, earlier in the race, Jimmy Johnson's the car was a little bit on the edgy side. The takeoff, though, was good and then went a little bit tight. But as you can see by looking at the top 6 with 5 chasers there, Jimmy said this year, the chase, you have to be almost perfect.
The hardest part is just been really to perform every week. I mean, everybody keeps stepping it up, and it's so tough to gain a lot of points on anyone. So I'm really amazed how every team, you've got the Roush cars, the 20, everybody has just been so strong, and that's been the challenge. You can't be off one weekend, you'll lose too many points.
On their last stop, Chad Canals and the Lowe's boys, they pulled the spring rubber out of the left rear and a small air pressure adjustment, Dave. That car running very solid.
Not solid right now for Mark Martin, Matt. He said, I don't like it on this run. Change the air pressure back to the way it was. Change the wedge back to the way it was. They're basically wanting to start back at ground zero, back at square one where they were before, to see if they can get a reading on this car. Alan?
Well, with the exception of Matt Kenseth, who's done all the leading, the drive of the day goes to Carl Edwards. 30th now, up to 6th. Already planning what they're going to do on their next pit stop. Carl constantly in conversation with his crew chief, Bob Osborne. Matt?
And running back in 7th, the 41, Casey Mears says, must be something on the grill because the water temperature is climbing quickly. The car, though, he says, is very close where it needs to be as far as setup. Just need to free it up just a tick, Alan.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. has slipped back a few spots in this last run of the race, Matt. He is complaining about his car not turning as well as he'd like it to in the center of the corner. That's keeping him from getting into the gas as quickly as he'd like, and that costs a lot of ground here. Marty?
Alan Rusty Wallace trying to snap a 3-race streak without a top 10. His car's been loose, but he wanted to pull some tape off on the last stop. Larry Carter, crew chief, talked him out of that because it's going to get cooler tonight. They'll need that tape on the front grill instead. They went with the wedge adjustment, trying to tighten him up. The car's been better, though. Matt?
Brian Vickers has really picked it up in the second half of the season, improving his average finish by 9 spots. Right now, the car starts out really loose on new tires, but then slowly gets better and better. Just a little tight in the center, especially in traffic, Snyder.
Denny Hamlin has a well-handling race car, Matt, but the problem was their pit stop came in 6th and out 12th. A lug nut hung on the right front. The car's a little bit tight. They made an air pressure and track bar adjustment on the last stop, trying to slowly work his way through the field. Dave?
Marty, I think when you talked with Kevin Harvick earlier today, starting 33rd, you thought he might have a chance to move his way toward the front. He's certainly done that. He's had a car that's had trouble turning, but they've made some adjustments. He's all the way up to the 12th position. Marty, back to you.
Yeah, good job for Martin Truex Jr. today, Dave. Started 27th. Currently, he's up in the 13th position. The car right on the bottom line. That's exactly where Martin wants it. On the last stop, they made no changes because Martin said, I don't think we can make it any better, guys. Dave?
Kurt Busch's car has not been that great today. I asked Jimmy Fenning this morning, how are you leading now that the championship is pretty much out of the question? He said, you know what? We're still just trying to win and move as far up in the points as we can. And Kurt has that attitude too. He's a racer. Marty?
Well, Dave, remember earlier we told you how Elliott Sadler was not happy with his race team, said we need to make some drastic changes on this next stop, so they obliged 4 different rounds of wedge in and out of that race car. On the last stop, it has come to life. Also an air pressure adjustment. He's up in 15th, Matty.
Marty, just the opposite for Sterling Marlin, one of the Ganassi drivers. He runs in the 16th position. No change to the car is really good. Let's just ride it for a while. Meanwhile, his teammate, the 42, Jimmy Murray, trying to lock down that $1 million bonus for finishing 11th. They made some small changes on the last stop. Just a track bar and air pressure. The car was a little loose on entry. And Dale Jarrett trying to score one more win here at Texas in the 88 car. The car's a little bit tight from the center to exit. Marty?
Well, Matt, Jeff Gordon's still struggling with his tight race car. Here's what they did on the last stop. It took them 20 seconds, and here's why. They put a spring rubber in the right rear spring, pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear spring, and fixed that valence where Kyle Busch hit him earlier. Jeff radioed to the crew a little while ago, said, you know what, guys? We're halfway there, almost. Dave?
Michael Waltrip asked crew chief Tony Gibson, hey, can you help my car turn a little bit better? Boy, did he. It was way too loose at the start of that run. It's coming to him a little bit now, but he said, don't go that far next time. Alan?
Ken Schrader has come about halfway up through the field from his 41st starting spot. Schrader earlier in the race called in, said they had an exhaust leak and the engine was down on horsepower. Then just after the last pit stop, he said, can you believe it somehow fixed itself? Ryan Newman complaining about the handling of his car, saying just a few minutes ago that his car is really tight in the center of the corners, and then calling in a little bit later and saying now it's loose entering the corners. Well, that means he's afraid to turn the steering wheel when he gets into the corner, that the back end's going to spin out. Dave?
When Greg Biffle brought out the caution on lap 81, Mike Bliss slid into the grass, didn't get hit by anybody, but just trying to miss the whole thing, lost control of his car. They were on pit road, made any little repairs they needed to, got him back out. He stays in the lead lap. Matt?
And Ricky Rudd rounding out the top 25 in the 21 car. Now, Fatback McSwain told me last night, he said, we have a very good car. It's just not quick on the get-go, but it's very consistent. And that's exactly what it's shown today. Just still a little bit on the tight side, Snyder.
Man, a good little race here between Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty, and Kyle's been running much better, and that's good to see the 45 car running up front. He's been a little bit tight, but he said, you know what happens? We give up so much ground at the beginning of the run with our car being loose. That's how these guys get so far away from us. Lap times, not too bad, and he repasses Ricky Rudd for 24th. Bill?
Thanks, guys. Those are the top 25 cars. There are 33 cars on the lead lap. The first car scored 1 lap down is Greg Biffle. So if the caution was to come out, Biffle right now would get the lucky dog. Everyone chasing Matt Kenseth at Texas. Mark Martin beats Matt Kenseth and Casey Mears for the restart. 5 bonus points for Mark. Got him under the caution.
Oh, Mark slides up the track a little bit. Now Mears slides up the racetrack. He's going to lose his spot. Carl Edwards.
Oh, nice. Tony Stewart trying to go on the inside of the 41 car. There he goes. And here comes Tony on the 99 car of Edwards.
Bill, just to follow up on Tony Stewart, we talked about his car lacking rear-end grip on that last run. They're now thinking maybe it was just a set of tires that didn't agree with the car. You know, these tires all kind of have personalities, and sometimes one set feels different than another. So they're hoping this set will be more agreeable to the way their chassis is set up.
Certainly looked like it on the first lap. And we went back to green.
Dead battery all the way dead.
All the way dead. Battery, 17 car, Matt Kenseth.
That's Carl Edwards right in front of Matt, running second.
Probably not going to make it to the end because the first one is all the way dead. I got the second one out about my switches off right now.
has gone to the
Get
second.
the other one ready.
Gone to the second battery, turned all the switches off. All the fans that are inside the car.
Ray Biffle in that 16 car is not on the lead lap. He and Bobby Labonte in the 18 both one lap down. Right now Labonte would be your lucky dog. So Kenseth, one of the contenders in the chase for the Nextel Cup, started first today after qualifying third with some issues, Marty.
Yeah, Bill, you guys were hearing it go down as the team was hearing about it. I was actually talking to Robbie Reiser when Matt radioed in, and surprise to Robbie. Now, they do run 2 batteries. You heard Matty has switched over to that backup batteries, but we have seen a rash of these electrical problems here late in the season. These cars are just drawing so much more power, Benny, than they used to, that they're draining these batteries and these alternators so much more quickly.
Well, what's happening, they've had a rash of tire problems. So a lot of teams are putting blowers on the front tires with fans to blow air on them to try to keep them cool and keep the tires living a little bit longer. When they do that, that draws a lot of juice.
That second battery is your insurance policy. Okay. To be able to switch back to it. So we'll keep an eye on Matt. He's got Greg Biffle, his teammate, right behind him. Biffle desperately trying to get on the lead lap. Mark Martin continues to lead. His teammate Carl Edwards is second. Mark out front. His pit guys got him there, Wally. Here they are.
Pat Tryson, Malvern, Pennsylvania.
Scott Bowen, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Todd Ziegler, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Andy Rieger, Seymour, Indiana.
Will Smith, Seymour, Indiana.
Drew Blickensderfer, Mount Zion, Illinois.
Rick Machinsky, Toledo, Ohio.
Danny Eklund, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Wayne Deloria, Biddeford, Maine, now Hickory, North Carolina.
And driver Mark Martin, right now 4th in the championship standings, 123 points out. 4 times he's finished 2nd in the championship standings, has never won the series title. Dave?
And Bill, you know they were working on the car, Mark, feeling like maybe the right front spring had given up. The adjustment they've been using most today is a wedge adjustment. That changes the attitude of the chassis a little bit, and they feel like that might be bringing it up off of the right front fender just a little bit. So Mark no longer complaining as much about that and really feels like the car has come back to him.
A lot of guys in the garage thought Mark Martin would be the guy to beat today, and right now he's out front. Jimmy Johnson, Elliott Sadler. Moves Johnson to 7th. Sadler thinking about trying to get it back, but won't. Jimmy sets off. What? Is that a tire rub?
Yeah, left front tire rubbing the fender.
I think both of them were at that time, Benny. I get smoke coming out of the right front as well.
Alan, what are you working on down there?
Looking at Carl Edwards, you know, he lost a spot or 2 on that last pit stop, Bill. He's since made it back up to 2nd spot when Matt Kenseth slipped back. But Carl was talking to his team about having trouble getting around Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was parked in the pit box in front of him.
I can't stop on that sign when it's that far forward, Bob, in that situation. We got to move it back.
You mean too far forward from the start-finish line?
Yeah, just, you know, I'm too close to that 8 car. I can't get out.
The problem is you slid through the board, bud.
Oh, 10-4.
All right. Oh, well, never mind.
There was him trying to leave the pits, and the 8 car there, that's why he lost all those spots.
Yeah, because he couldn't stay on the gas when he left the pits. He had to turn it real hard, get on the gas, then kind of let off, or he would have hit the 8 car.
But they had the pit board out for him, and when he came into his pit stall, instead of stopping on the board, he slid through it. And in the meantime, he just passed Mark Martin and got in the lead.
Tell you what, he's loving these 1.5-mile racetracks. And I'm sure that Mark Martin did not contest that battle for the lead very hard.
It got Carl 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Here's how it went.
On the backstretch, we see him pressuring the 6 car, and Mark just says, okay, you're faster than I am at this point in time, go.
With 130 plus laps to go, Mark's not going to contest that, as Benny talked about, Dave.
And Mark just radioed radioed his crew chief Pat Tryson. It just gets tighter and tighter. Means the car doesn't want to turn as well. And guys are starting to watch the weather here as the shadows come over the track. This track will tighten up. In fact, Kyle Busch, one of the cars earlier, talking about putting a spring rubber in the right rear just to keep up with that condition as the conditions change out here. Marty?
Dave, just an update on the 17-car Matt Kenseth. Robbie Reiser has conferred with the Roush Racing engineers. They should be able to run, he said, 2.5 hours on that one backup battery. Matt radioed back, said, I'm on battery number 1. I'm going to run that out until it's completely gone. Then I'll switch over to the second battery. So they're fairly convinced they'll be okay. No concern right now with putting a new battery in. Bill?
Thanks, Marty. We'll keep an eye on that. More than half the track now in shadows as we race from daylight to darkness at the Texas Motor Speedway. Carl Edwards, the leader. .39 to go here at the Great American Speedway.
He had him clear BP. He really needed to get Newman clear.
He tried his best. He tried his best to get the 12 car off the gas. Did not quite work.
Because the longer he stays side by side like that, Tony Stewart's going to keep on stretching out that lead. So he needs to get past Newman. This will do it.
So Mark Martin and now Brian Vickers trying to clear the lap traffic. Now Matt Kenseth clear of the 12 down the backstretch.
This all looks much cooler at night, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Now Carl Edwards, a 99 car, who was the leader, or I guess running second when they made these pit stops, trying to get by the 12. And those sparks, that's not something wrong with the cars. They're just going down and dragging the racetrack.
I thought you were talking about the flash bulbs going off. It's spectacular here right now. Carl Edwards on board with Ryan Newman. Newman is the first car lap down, but watch as he comes off a floor. The sparks off the car and the flash bulbs in the stands here at Texas. Mark Martin runs second behind Tony. Alan, what are you working on?
Just follow up before while we had Ryan Newman on the camera there, Bill. Fifth place guy in points coming into the day. Backup car, they've struggled with it all day. Some of Ryan's calls into his crew have gotten more urgent as the day goes on about needing help with the handling of that race car. Uncharacteristic struggle on a high-speed racetrack. That's been the trouble spot for this team these last few weeks.
And just to follow up on that, Mark Martin, who runs second now behind Tony Stewart, who is the championship leader. Mark obviously trying to win the race, but his championship chances might be determined by how he fares on this track today, if he can get around Tony and pick up the win and some more points.
I mean, with Tony Stewart running out front, he's going to bury a lot of guys tonight as far as their championship hopes.
Kenseth and Brian Vickers. This is for third. Edwards watches.
Carl Edwards is a second and a quarter behind Tony Stewart.
What are you listening to, AB?
Just after the pit stops before the restart, Bill, Matt Kenseth dialing over to Carl Edwards' team's radio with this.
Well, man. Go ahead. Hey, I know you're quicker. I'll get out of your way when I can. If I just run a lap or two pretty loose, get around these lap cars, don't get out of the way. I know you're quicker. I heard your spotter last week saying all it was a roadblock, so I'll try not to do that. All right, 10-4. I don't know if he said that, but he probably said something like you were just a big jerk and he didn't like you. I don't know how you heard it, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't want to hold you up too long. I've been pretty decent. I'm just pretty loose at starts, but trying to get by the main lap cars, get over them if I can. All right, I appreciate it. Thanks, Matt.
So a little teammate byplay there under caution. I guess the first thing, though, before Matt can give way to Carl, guys, is Carl's got to catch him.
I would say that's rule number one.
If you were going to have a contest for nicest guy in the garage, Edwards and Kenseth would be right up there.
They sure would.
Contending for the title.
Carl Edwards just always has that great smile on his face.
He does, and the right attitude. They've just come so far in so little time. Doing a tremendous job driving for Jack Roush. He's got inside of Vickers.
Yeah, he's got the spot. He's got a lot of momentum right there going into turn one, and completes the pass. Now he's going to go after his teammate, Matt Kenseth.
So 2 Roush cars now chasing Tony Stewart, leader on the track, leader in the championship standings. Tony won the race off of pit road. That's how he got the lead. Here are the guys that got the job done.
Hi, Greg Zipadelli, Berlin, Connecticut. Tom Dean, Long Valley, New Jersey.
Ira Joe Hussey, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Chuck White, China Grove, North Carolina.
Jody Fortson, China Grove, North Carolina.
Todd Foster, Birmingham, Alabama.
Jeff Patterson, Escondido, California.
Brian Larson, Escanaba, Michigan. Paul Aleppa, Vienna, Virginia.
Hard-working guys over the wall and their coach. AB?
Bill, when it counted most, what could be the last pit stop in this race, a 12.90 second stop from Tony Stewart's guys. That's being a performer in the clutch, wouldn't you say?
I totally agree. Edwards gets Kenseth for third, and Mark Martin is right on Tony Stewart for the lead. 29 to go.
And he knows, I think Mark realizes he's got to go and make up all the distance he can between himself and the 99 car, Carl Edwards.
You're exactly right, BP. He's got to get by Stewart and go. And Mark's searching there. He's been running the low line at 3 and 4, and now he went up high to take a look to see if maybe he could use that to pass the 20 car of Tony Stewart.
We are on a race record pace here at Texas. Casey Mears, whose car gets better the longer they run. Now for the lead, Mark Martin.
Oh, he just blows by Tony Stewart. But here comes the crossover.
Oh, he gets him loose. Gets him loose.
Here comes Tony Stewart back.
This is why 190,000 people are here today from 50 states and 12 foreign countries.
Almost made some contact, those 2 cars.
So Mark will have to go to work again.
Mike, and earlier, you better hurry because Carl Edwards is in their mirror.
Mark moves over, Edwards goes by. Three Roush cars behind Tony Stewart, who drives for Joe Gibbs. Carl's mom.
She get a little more animated now.
Tony knows what's coming, doesn't he?
Yeah, Edwards using that high line.
Dave?
And the 5-car of Kyle Busch remains on pit road. He said to his crew, it just shut off coming off turn 2. They tried switching ignition boxes. That did not help. It just quit.
Top 4 drivers. All contenders for the Nextel Cup Championship.
Wouldn't be surprised if the 5 car didn't break a camshaft, timing belt, something like that.
Carl Edwards is moving again. Flying right now.
Oh!
Trying to do it on the bottom. Man, oh. Well, let's see if he can hang on to it.
I don't think there's going to be a crossover move on this one.
Down strong.
For a minute or 2, baby. He'll try to lift you up, but he's 2 back now, 3 back.
24 to go.
It's Bobby Hudson, the aforementioned spotter for the 99 car.
Carl Edwards ran a handful of races in the latter portion of the 2004 season. Basically gave up his rookie status. This is his first full season in the Nextel Cup Series. He cannot win the Rookie of the Year award in Nextel Cup. He can in the Busch Series, but not in Nextel Cup. But those races he ran at the end of last year, paying off big time for Carl Edwards and Roush Racing.
Mark Martin's going to take another run at Stewart. Got a pretty good run off of turn 2. He's under him.
That's where Edwards got it done. Mark passed Tony.
And this time Mark did not drift up the racetrack to allow the 20 car to get back on the inside of it.
You're the man. 22 to go.
All right, Mark, 22 laps to catch Carl Edwards.
Championship standings as they run. 2 races to go after tonight.
Carl Edwards is just 92 back. But Tony Stewart
has been awesome.
He has been fantastic. Running in third place here tonight. About to make that fourth spot as here comes a 17 car.
Alan? Hey, Bill, remember when Tony Stewart did the crossover on Mark Martin, and it looked like they might have made contact? Yeah. Apparently they did, because Tony just called in on the radio and said we were fine until we mashed the fender in.
Marty? Well, Bill, you can feel the intensity not only pick up down here on pit road, but in the drivers' voices, including Matt Kenseth, who gets better the longer he runs. Remember, he told his teammate earlier, I'm loose to start with as he passes the 20 car, but the longer I go, the better I get. That may play into the 17's hands. Matt.
And the car that's starting to get into the picture there, you see him, the target car, the 41 of Casey Mears. He has slowly reeled them in, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. In fact, his team told him, you can see he's moved up to the Carl Edwards line as he slowly reels in the 20. In fact, the last time a car number 41 went to victory lane, BP, one of your old favorite racetracks, Rockingham, October 1965, the late Curtis Turner.
Oh, yes, I remember that. I thought the 41 car was going to get loose there off turn 2. Did not happen.
Outstanding run for Casey Mears.
At times today, the 41 car has been the fastest car on the racetrack.
Has led 23 laps today in that 41 target machine. Stewart now runs for it. You know, Tony had that 25th place finish at Charlotte. Those 4 top 10s in the last 5 races.
If he keeps doing that, it's going to be almost impossible to beat him.
And we all know he runs well at the 2 tracks left, right. Phoenix and Homestead. So I take you on a mini through the field here. Start with the 99 of Carl Edwards, Alan.
What a rocket ship for a race car is all I can say, Bill. Overcoming some issues they have had in the pits during the day today. Each time clawing his way back to the front. Carl less than 20 laps away from a win, Dave.
Start of the day telling you how Mark Martin said he would drive until he was 60 if he could have a car like last week at Atlanta. Wonder how far he'll go after this week. Marty?
Well, Matt Kenseth has done everything he could today to try and gain some points in the championship standings. He has led the most laps. Problem is, Tony Stewart is only 2 spots behind him. Hard to win the championship when the man you're trying to beat is also finishing in the top 5. Matt.
Back in the spring, right here at Texas, Mears goes down to the bottom, scored his best career finish in Nextel Cup, a 4th. That's where he runs right now, trying to reel in that 17. Alan.
Tony Stewart has fallen back to 5th place, still though ahead of Jimmy Johnson by a couple of spots, protecting most of his championship lead, and the yellow's out.
Debris in turn 3 brings out the caution. And we talked about pit strategy.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I was Casey Mears, the way his car's running, I'd stay out no matter what anybody else does. Because he's got his car fast right now, and the tires are on.
15 laps to go.
This is the tricky part. What do you do? Because when you're the leader, everybody's going to pretty much do the opposite.
There are
we got a kid here. Put tires on it.
23 cars on the lead lap.
That was 99 ready. We heard Bob Osborne saying, let's
6 or better will win it.
We come out 6th or better, we'll win it. Another question is, will they get it restarted before 10 to go? Will it be single file or a double file restart? And what will the guys in the back who have nothing to lose do?
I think they'll get it started double file.
I think they will too. That means if you come out 6th,
yeah, you don't have much time.
All right, here we go. Pits are open.
Stay out.
No,
here he's coming. 6 stayed out.
Carl Edwards just made it inside the commitment cones.
Oh, is Mark Martin, the 17 cars out, Casey Mears?
That's what I would have done if I was Mears.
Matt.
Bill, the bottom of your screen, the 48 Jimmy Johnson slides to a stop in his pit box. Now they made a track bar adjustment and air pressure in their last stop. They were running in the 7th or 8th position right near the end. They should pit, get fresh tires, take another shot at it. AB?
2-tire stop for Carl Edwards. Tony Stewart is down and away. We'll check and see what he did. I went to the 99 pit, and they did just rights only.
My guess is that's the same thing that Tony did because they left about the same time, Alan. They were afraid to change 4 tires and lose too much track position.
Now, what helped Mark too is Kenseth stayed out, Mir stayed out. That helped Mark.
Right side tires only for Tony Stewart. Dave?
Well, and Mark and Pat Tryson talked it over. Mark said, I'm sure whatever we'll do is wrong.
That sounds like Mark.
Well, and because it's burned them before. I forget where it was
Atlanta.
now. That's right, Atlanta last year. Hurt them when they did not pit. This time, they feel like it was the right call. Mark reiterated that when he called back to Pat and said, right call, guys, let's win.
I think I will agree with that one.
Yeah.
Good move.
Boy. Well, it's going to be thrilling to watch the final laps here at Texas. Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, Casey Mears, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Moreland all stayed out. 11 to go at Texas.
And Mark knew he had to do that and did it. Got it done, so now he needs to go.
Now Sterling Moreland, his car's going down the inside, outside. So does Rusty Wallace. Tony Stewart's on the inside and Carl Edwards on the outside.
Those tires make a huge difference. That's Schrader in the middle. Bobby Labonte in the 18. Casey Mears up high. There's Edwards in the 99. Mark trying to break away with Kenseth behind.
And Tony Stewart had to back up and follow the 99 car around the Blaney 07. The Schrader car, 49.
10 to go.
These guys are really drifting up the racetrack. Trying to get some heat in those right side tires.
Blaney in the 07 behind Stewart.
In the meantime, Mark is stretching that lead out.
And Kenseth is side by side with Newman briefly.
Mark's got going for him. Clean air.
You want to mention that Greg Biffle was the lucky dog, got back on the lead lap.
The 99 car, Carl Edwards, has moved into the 3rd position. He's got by Casey Mears, but a lot of lap traffic between himself and Mark Martin, and about 2 seconds.
To go.
Newman. This is going to hang Mark up a little bit if Newman passes Mark Martin and get his lap back.
And you know that Mark Martin said, Ryan, please don't be messing with me.
Ryan Vickers has fallen back to 22nd, had to make a second pit stop for loose lug nuts. This is Newman to get back on the lead lap around Mark. Mark lets him go. Carl Edwards, who's been the class in the second half of this race. The 99 car.
Now, this time we got the 3 Roush cars running 1, 2, 3, Martin, Kenseth, and Edwards.
5 Roush cars in the 10-man chase for the Nextel Cup.
Kenseth starting to make a little ground up on Martin right now.
You're the man. Go get him.
Pat Tryson, Mark Martin's crew chief, talking to his driver. Tell you again that Matt Kenseth's crew chief, Robbie Reiser, was not here on Friday. Spent Thursday and Friday with his father in the hospital back in North Carolina. His father's been ill, battling some medical problems. Matt called his crew chief, Robbie Reiser, on Thursday, said, you stay there, we'll get it done on Friday. Robbie came here Saturday to work the practice.
You're the man. Go do it, man. You're the man.
Here comes Carl Edwards.
Kenseth half a second back in second, and Edwards in the 99 car.
Edwards at last lap faster than the other 2 cars, but
you gotta pass him.
Gotta pass him. Oh, he drives to the inside.
It's been tricky when you get down there. Inside of Matt for second.
That's not what Mark wanted to see in his mirror right now.
He was really hoping the 17 would hold up the 99. Alan?
Hey, just remember that Carl Edwards said just before he went down pit road, if we restart 6th or better, I can get him. He restarted 6th.
Man he has to get now is Mark Martin.
3.5 laps to to get the job done. And about 10 car lengths.
And the guy he's going to have to pass is one of the... It's Pat Tryson again, Martin's crew chief. Martin, one of the most determined racers in the sport.
Edwards didn't really make up that much ground on Mark that last lap.
No, just about a 1/10 of a second.
Ooh, he made up some ground there, though. On the high side.
Here he comes. Off of 4.
Got a good run right there, so this is going to close the gap.
2 to go. 3 miles left in the race.
Mark's going to the bottom. Here goes Edwards to the top.
For the lead, less than 2 laps to go. Carl Edwards around Mark Martin.
Baby, don't overdo it now. Clear, 1 back.
Carl's mother watches from pit road. Last lap.
Flag, you're looking at it. 3 back. 3 back.
Pretty impressive.
Unbelievable what that is.
Edwards going for 2 in a row. Won last Sunday in Atlanta. Tony Stewart is 6th, and that really will affect the championship standings as we head for Phoenix next week. Carl Edwards.
You can take a break. It's yours.
Off of 4. It is his. Carl Edwards wins at Texas. That was something to watch.
Great job, guys. Is it over for sure? It's over, buddy. Drive it around. Break time.
MC Jimmy Johnson beat Tony Stewart by 1 position.
Unofficially, it's 38 points from Stewart in first to Johnson in second. It's Carl's mom, Nancy. Mark Martin. Those are teammates. They both drive for Jack Roush. It's a 1-2-3 Roush finish. Edwards, Martin, Kenseth.
Unbelievable. I cannot tell you how excited I am. Unbelievable. Carl, what a ride for you. Way to go out there. Thank you, guys. I'm going to do a backflip here.
This is Edwards' trademark.
And 190,000 people at what you say, the Great American Speedway.
That's right.
Want to see this backflip.
They all brought their cameras. Columbia, Missouri, his 4th win of the season. Edwards is 3rd in the championship standings, 77 points back with 2 races to go. There have been some amazing starts to the Nextel Cup careers for drivers, but this guy is rewriting the book.
And he stopped the landing.
That was better than Dave's pole vault. A hug from Mom. Last words from Carl before the race starts. Thanks, Mom. I love you.